Ray here from Model Making Maniacs. Well, I was getting part 2 of my DLG build video prepped, and I came across a bit of an issue. In part 2, I'm working on the tailplane section, and this balsa is about 3mm thick. Well, I have to fit 4 of these little paper hinges slotted into the balsa. Now, I've done that before and tried it by hand to carefully slice out the slots. It works, but sometimes you'll muck it up and you end up punching the blade through and cutting up all your balsa, and sometimes holes don't line up properly. Well, I thought, there's got to be some better way to do this. Well, I was surfing around on the net the other night, and I found someone who made a jig for drilling, centering a hole to drill on top of a post. I went, I reckon I can adapt that to work to cut a slot and make it center. So got on my CAD program. A couple of days later, 3D printed up some parts, which I'll show you the parts now. And I put together a jig for slicing a 16mm slot in my balsa. So this will do up to hinges 16mm wide. So, and it seems to work pretty well. So what I do is I'll put it all together, and then I'll show you how I cut a slot, fit the hinge, and then you'll see me using it in part 2 of my video later on. But I thought I'd just put this one up for interest's sake. Something else to do with my 3D printer. So let's get into it, and I'll show you how it all fits together and how we use it to cut a slot. So there's all the parts that I printed up. We've got the 2 plain, and this long one here has the slot for the cut, so that goes on last. So we basically just click all these bits together. Fit those in there, and then I've got some pins just to help locate them better so they don't fall out on you. Now the top bar with the cutting edge, that's a reasonably loose fit. Whoop, says that. And I did that so that if I needed to at any stage, I could pull this top bar out and replace it with, let's say, instead of a slot, you could have a hole. If you're using some of those hinges, which are the hinges are pins that do that for the hinge. So sometimes you're going to want to drill a hole. Well, maybe that might be a good idea there. So that's what that is. And it basically just squishes over your balsa wood, and away you go. So let's try fit that, and we will see how we go. So here's the 3mm balsa. You put it on, line up where you want your hinge. We'll grab our knife blade. Hopefully you can see all this. I just insert the knife blade. Now I just make sure it's square with the balsa, and we just push it down all the way. That's one. I put it in the other end, and again I just make sure I try to keep it as square as I can with the balsa. Push it down all the way, and then I'll do one in the middle, move it in a little bit, try another slot. My eyes aren't the best. There we go. And again, square it up and push. And let's do another one just in a little bit from that. Let's try that one about there. Push, there we go. So, now let's just check that that's the slot just in there. And just make sure that that seems to be all pretty clear. Let's just see how well it goes. I normally do a bit more of a clean out, but you can see that. Wiggle that in. There it is. It's in there. A couple of drops of the super glue. That'll keep it in nice and tight. If I need to, I can put it. Now I can just put most of the slots cut. I can just put the blade in and clear it out a little bit if I need to go a bit deeper. But that should be pretty good. But that is the jig. So hopefully that might help other people as well. The idea for the design. So that's the jig. It seems to work for me. Be interesting when I try some other ones. So it'll be a useful little kit just to keep in my workshop now for the times when I need to do those hinges. So just thought you might be interested. So keep an eye out for the part 2 video coming out soon for the tail section of the DLG. You'll see this in use again in that. So, right, cheers. Thanks for watching. Bye.